Good evening, I'm Greg Floyd.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Bishop. A protest underway right now across the street from the Capitol. Dozens of people are planning to spend the night in a park in support of rent control laws.
Brendan Lewis is live in Albany for us tonight. Brendan, tomorrow both houses return to the Capitol to continue what has become an extended legislative session.
Yeah, it certainly has, Greg and Liz, and tonight there's about 24 people spending the night out here in Academy Park, just on the shadow of the Capitol building. They came up from New York City this evening to sleep outside the Capitol in protest of rent control laws that were allowed to expire last week. Both houses did pass an extension, but that expires tomorrow. We did see staff members for Senate and House speakers in the Capitol tonight, possibly indicating some late-night talks. Tonight, this group hopes their presence will help influence those talks. Why sleep outside?
To make a point, because this is where he's going to send most of the people in New York who live in rent control buildings. This is where the majority of people are going to end up in the streets, in shelter, which you're going to have to spend more tax to pay for shelters, more money. Does that make sense?
Now, rent control is largely a New York City issue, but it does have an impact right here in the Capitol region. See, at the center of these discussions, of course, is rent control. But Governor Cuomo has tied it to the education tax credit that would help influence some private schools. Now, at the same time, Assembly Democrats, and at least the source is telling us that the downstate Assembly members have linked it to a sales tax discussion as well connected to rent control. Sales tax is an extension that would allow upstate communities like Albany and Schenectady to have people pay an extra 1% in sales tax. That's something that's already in place, and it requires an extension. The Assembly also holding off on voting on MMA, partially because they're waiting for the rent control deal to go through. Typically at the end of the session, all these big bills that are still left over are left under the heading that's called the Big Ugly. And right now, that's still something that they're trying to discuss and possibly pass together as a package deal. Now, Speaker Hasty told us on Friday that he wants to see rent control left aside as a separate issue, which could mean that all these links to this big deal that's under the heading of Big Ugly could eventually fall apart. Something we'll have to see when the session resumes tomorrow. We're live in Albany tonight. Brandon Lewis, CBS 6 News at 10.